All right, Mr. Cohen, you may begin. We can restart the clock at 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. What bothers me with this hearing, I think the hearing is good that we're having it on the issue, and I think the discussion's been great and the witnesses are great. But there's been anti-Semitism in this country and in the world for a long, long time. In the world, I guess 2,000 years, give or take, and in the United States, probably since the beginning of this country. And most of it has come from right-wing, racist crowds like the Ku Klux Klan, the Proud Boys, other groups that stand for nationalism. And they were the groups that were at Charlottesville and said, Jews will not replace us, and marched with their torches. They're the people that have consistently been the David Dukes and been anti-Semitic. And yet, when those things happened, people that are really against anti-Semitism, and those of us who are Jewish and feel it in a personal way so many times, didn't feel support from many, many, many people who today are some of the strongest people fighting anti-Semitism. Now, when they fight it, they are really fighting higher education. And they've always had a problem with that. I know a senator who said higher education is a cesspool. Well, obviously it's not, but that says something about her education. We ought to fight anti-Semitism in every quarter in which it exists. And what's happening now on the campuses is despicable and unfortunate. And so many of these people, including many of those who just left us and with their red hands and voices, don't understand the history of why Israel was created, why there's a necessity for Israel, and why it needs to exist. Ignorance has given them a lot of opportunity to make their voices heard. It needs to stop, but I think, and what I'd ask Dr. Goldfeder, and I know you've been at Emory, I think earlier, I don't think you're necessarily as Southern as that far back, but you get a taste of it in Atlanta. Is anti-Semitism more prevalent among Klansmen and Proud Boys and some of these right-wing groups?
I'm Emory by way of New York. But thank you for the question, Congressman. It's an excellent question. I'll answer that by saying that I think that anti-Semitism, it's hard to measure where it's more prevalent. It's dangerous wherever it comes from. But I think it is more dangerous coming from the left right now because it is okay to say it in polite society. No one thinks it's okay to say, I stand with David Duke or with the Klan. But people are willing to literally say, I stand with Hamas. And that's why it's more dangerous, because you can say it in polite society on university campuses.
Well, President Trump said he thought David Duke was okay when he ran for office in 2016, and he said he didn't know about all that other stuff, and he welcomed David Duke's support. But that's neither here nor there. A lot of the issues, and I don't mean to defend it in any way whatsoever, but has anybody out here, any one of you, done any studies to see how much Saudi money or Kuwaiti money or Qatari money is been given to the schools, that Ivy schools in particular? I mean, dollars, I think, might have something to say, because I've read that there's a lot of Middle Eastern money gone into these universities and that they're afraid to lose it. Yes, sir, Rabbi?
I didn't do the study, but there was research done by the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy that found that from 2015 to 2020, institutions that accepted money from the Middle Eastern donors had, on average, 300% more anti-Semitic incidents than those institutions that did not. And from 2015 to 2020, institutions that accepted undisclosed funds from authoritarian donors had, on average, 250% more anti-Semitic incidents than those institutions that did not.
Anybody else have anything to add? Mr. Jacoby?
This was a report done by the Network Contagion Research Institute that invested Qatari money funneling into U.S. universities. The report clearly states, and I quote, "There has clearly been an erosion of democratic norms on campuses, and that a massive influx of foreign concealed donations to American institutions of higher learning, much of it from authoritarian regimes with notable support from Middle Eastern sources." That was the direct quote from the study.
And they generally are, those countries are generally aligned with Hamas.
I can tell you from my own experience, I'm a political science and modern Middle East studies major. I've yet to take a class in all 4 years of college that depicts the United States in any sort of positive light. And much of the professors that are saying things like playing the victim is what Jews are best at are the ones in the Political Science and Modern Middle East Studies Department at Penn.
Well, I thank each of you. Both students are very impressive, and the adults are super adults are very impressive too. And I appreciate the hearing, but I do hope that we'll have more consistency in our opposition to anti-Semitism. I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank the gentleman from